everyone, welcome to the Art Workshop. My name is Christopher Epling. I appreciate you all tuning in today. On behalf of Pike TV, we're really glad you did. And if this is your first time watching the Art Workshop, then welcome. How this usually works is we do tutorials here. We teach you basics of drawing, different types of mediums. We also do art instruction for using maybe different techniques with different brushes, that sort of thing. So we really encourage everyone to follow along home. So if you do have any art supplies laying around, grab those. Today we're going to be using pencil, eraser, and ink and paper. That's all you need to participate. If you do follow along, we'd love to see your work. You can send that in to us at piketv99@gmail. Send it over. We'd love to share it here on the show. Just include your name so we know who you are and your age too if you want to. We'd love to see your work. We have a very special show today though, something planned. We've been doing something here different with Student Series where we're bringing local artists, young students from around our region, and we showcase them here on the Art Workshop. And I'm really happy today to welcome Riley Collins to the show. Riley, welcome. It's really good you're here. This is exciting. I met Riley in person just before the show started, and I kind of knew, I saw some of her work. Her family said that she's really loves art, but I had no idea until you showed me a page of your sketchbook here, just truly how talented you are. You are outstanding, especially for your age. So how long have you been drawing?
I've been drawing like ever since I was little, but I don't think I really took it seriously maybe until like a couple years ago.
So do you normally like go online and look at tutorials and stuff? So like how did you learn to do this? Is it natural?
Well, I mostly taught myself, but I would watch videos online to help me with like certain things, like foreshadowing and stuff like that.
Foreshadowing. I mean, you're
or
only
foreshortening.
Foreshortening. You're 14 and you know art terms that some folks are just learning right now in university, college level stuff. It's impressive. I realized how amazing you were just by glancing over it. When I looked at this one image that you've drawn on this page of a character shaking someone's hand, you don't realize how hard this is to do. So you imagine drawing literally from this perspective someone's hand, right? And you nailed it. I couldn't do this. You've done a great job with this. Let's talk a little bit more about you before we start drawing, okay? Now, normally how it works is you'll show me how to draw something, then we flip it over and I'll draw something and you follow, right? Mm-hmm. But before we get to that point, will you tell us a little bit about yourself? So where you go to school, where other interests, is art your only interest, that kind of thing?
I am 14. I'm a freshman at Cross Central School, and art's really my main hobby.
It is.
So, yeah.
So how many, do you keep a lot of sketchbooks, or is this is a pretty good sized sketchbook? You said you just started this like what, in the summer?
Yeah, I did. I started it maybe about a year ago, but it's not very full because most of the time I just draw on copier paper.
Yeah. So you mentioned though you don't have art classes at Cross Central right now,
no.
But that might change, right, down the road sometime. But to get to this level of what you're doing and you're studying, you're practicing on your own, shows your dedication to what you're doing. Like, do you think about art a lot, like all the time?
Yeah.
Do you come up with your own characters and stuff? Now you mentioned before the show too. Tell me a little bit about your idea for a comic book. Are you really going to do that?
Well, there are two ideas for if I were to make one. I would like to make one that's maybe like sort of based on a fantasy setting, with lots of magic and stuff because, it's pretty fun, like elves and stuff like that. And the other idea is maybe more just like zombies and stuff.
Okay.
Because that's pretty cool.
You're right up my alley then. Do you remember when I came to your school?
Yeah.
You do remember? Okay. We did the little art shop. Remember we I think, what was it? We drew like Noah and maybe a Roman soldier or something like that.
And also a DJ.
And a DJ.
Yeah.
Somehow that came out about. So that's perfect. Yeah, I was there for sure because throw in like Moses and a DJ or whatever, we're good to go. Well, yeah, I would love to show your work though if we can. I mean, this is it's sort of small, but if you can see at home, this page in particular is what I'm talking about here. So this character is shaking someone's hand or offering their hand. And if you could I wish we could really blow that up. Maybe we'll get a still shot of this so we can show it later. But it's incredible. Your shadowing is spot on. The folds in the clothing, you understand just based on what I can see here. Light shine, eye shine, but the pupils, your variation of your your line widths from one to the other. It's really, really high-level stuff you're doing. And you're 14. So I'm nervous about drawing today, to be honest with you. I told you that too. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to follow along with you, but I'm going to try. I mean, you said you don't use ink pens a lot, though, because you like the look of graphite. What do you prefer to work in?
I mostly just do sketches because I feel like it just gives the drawing a bit more energy and like liveliness, you know?
Yeah, so like, so you won't ink over your stuff most of the time, right?
Most of the time, no.
You use watercolor any or paints?
I tried it once, but not really with my style. I tried like some realism with it.
Yeah. So you're really into this character building, using pencil, sketching, coming up with ideas, right? Mm-hmm. I love it. That's amazing. Can we draw together? That sounds fun. Okay, I'm going to follow you first, okay? And remember what I said, though. Just kind of pretend that I know nothing about art, which I really don't anyway. So, and you're just teaching me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Well, most of the time I like to start with like just an oval, you know.
Okay. Oval, all right.
And then I like to put a line down the middle to make sure that one of his eyes isn't like falling off the edge of his face, because that wouldn't be very good.
No.
And then I like to do like a little shoulder line just to know where that is. And then I like to make sort of this shape to know like what is rib cage.
So
yeah.
So like that.
Just like yeah.
You arc that bottom line up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like a chest, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll do like the hips. I just like to do a line first, and then I'll make it sort of like just like think of it like shorts.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
like just literally almost like Superman's his tights there, right? You got the parts with the legs, and then you got the other leg there. Mm-hmm. It's like that. So there's two arches here.
Yeah. Just so you know where those legs are gonna be.
Okay.
And then you just sort of give them, a stomach, because that's kind of important.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just a little. And then I like to start with the neck. And this line that I made for the shoulders is where I actually put the collarbones.
Oh, I messed that up. Okay, so you got.
Yeah.
So you got.
I just sort of bring the neck down, and then I'll start from this and like bring it up a little bit.
Something like that, anyway, right?
Yeah.
And then you got
kind of like that.
Here for your collarbone. Okay, got it.
And then for my legs, I like to first I make it kind of straight, and then I make it a little bit curvier later. But I just do. It's kind of like a round rectangle.
And you look
it's not quite a circle.
I've drawn bigger than you, so I'm gonna have no feet. But I want you to keep going as if I did. So.
Normally, I don't really draw very big, so I'm not really used to it. But
no, you're fine. Okay, now you're drawing the thighs, right?
Yep.
The upper leg, and you've got this shape that kind of is like a elongated. It's almost like, imagine like a mannequin, right? Sort of like a mannequin.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm already anticipating that I'm not gonna have enough room, and I'm making everything shorter now. So now I've got someone with a giant torso and little legs. But it's okay. Let's keep going.
And then I like to put like little ovals here so I know where their knees are going to be.
Okay. Gotta know where the knees are going to be. Okay.
I'll wait for you.
Yeah, thank you. I gotta fix this. This is bothering me. It's a little bit better now. Like that. And then this comes. See, you're even like, as you're building it, even like positioning like a gesture to the person. And it's hard to think about early on when you're just go ahead, sorry. Little ovals for knees, okay.
Well, I'm just doing like a pose that I do a lot where it's sort of just like a hand on the hips.
Yeah.
You might not see that quite yet, but
I can see it in yours. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and then for the rest of the leg, it's kind of the same shape, but I like to make it a little bit. It sort of pokes out a little bit more there just to show those muscles that would be in your legs.
Just keep on going. It's okay if I'm not able to follow you along right now.
And sort of like a little
holy moly
knee out.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then I used to struggle a lot with feet, but I use like this little. First, I just start with kind of like a triangle.
Okay.
Yeah. And then once I do that, I just make like a little bit of a smaller one, and I use that as my feet. Otherwise, it's kind of confusing.
No, it makes total sense. So we talk a lot in here about underdrawing, so like preparing to draw, instead of sitting down and drawing something for the first time, right?
Right.
So it's like a lot of students when they first start out, they want to press down real hard and like engrave it into the paper. Mm-hmm. So what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for success. So you start with a triangle like that, right? Then you build the front out like this, right? Mm-hmm. And then you come over to the side. Now you got your shape for your heel, back to your heel, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I know that doesn't look like a foot yet, but when she continues here, you'll see it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then for my arms, I like to do this little trick where you put where you're going to put the hand first.
Okay.
And you can sort of just like connect it.
Okay.
Otherwise, sometimes you might make it's just like easier to connect to the shoulder, I feel, if you do that, the hand first.
So knowing where you're going to go helps you figure out scale, how big it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
So like if you were starting out and you just wanted to draw a line down to down, you may mess it up. See, like with me, I'm messing it up. Okay. All right. Something like that. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to do kind of the same thing on the other side. This arm's going to look a little bit different.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't start with the hand this time. You kind of just went, or did you? Did you start with the hand?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. But you can't see a lot of this one, right? So it's going to be something. Okay. Come back to there and then. Okay, I got it. You're just connecting the dots really now, right? You're just building it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then my next step I like to do is also to do like where the hairline's going to be.
Okay.
So I don't make like their face too big or anything. And then also like where the ears are going to be, which is it's kind of just in the middle of the oval. And then with the ears, you're kind of going to want to start your top eyelid at the top of where those ears are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know there's this rule I heard about once that with every person that your eyebrows or top of your eyes are on level with the tips of your ears on every person, no matter what, right? Okay, sorry.
And then if we want to do a smile, we can just like sort of raise the bottom eyelids just to make it look more expressive.
Okay. Yeah. So you got a little bit of a pivot there. Okay. Alrighty.
And then I like to just put where the bottom of my nose is going to be. And then I'll do like the little, where the nostrils are going to be. Just like.
Oh man, okay. I got you. Nostrils too.
And then I put a little circle so I know where the tip of the nose is going to be. And then I just sort of draw the, whatever that part is called. I don't know what it is.
The nose, you're talking about the point of the nose? The cartilage on the end of your nose?
Like this part. Yeah, that part.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah. And
your nose holders.
Yeah.
Yeah, nasal.
And then I guess we can make it sort of looking at us, or like the camera or whatever.
See, now this is where my attempt to draw anything like this breaks down. Right here. This is where it all crashes. Because when I draw these eyes in here, mine just doesn't look like your style, like that style. The manga anime is like such a broad term, really. But that style, that influence, I can't do it as well.
And then I also like just adding a little bit of blush around the nose.
Blush. Okay. Alrighty.
And then next you'll kind of do the eyebrows. I don't really have a good way to explain those. It's just eyebrows.
Like little arches?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there we go. What about inside the eye there? Like, how do you get that look that you have with your work? I know what the eye shine and the point is, but how do you make the pupil look so much like a pupil? It's just graphite.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, when I look at this eye over here, you have a dot in the middle, right? Like this. Okay. And that's all shaded in dark, right? See, now that looks like my kind of work right there. But it's left it alone at this point. But what you have, though, you also have a little divot I'm not moving ahead too far here, but I'm just trying to explain what I mean. And then you have this part here, these lines that come out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it kind of does look like a pupil now. Okay, I answered my own question. You just kind of, and you take away right here. Your pupil might look different than mine, but I'm kind of going with it. Okay.
Yeah. And then I also like to do those little eyelashes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. I'll try to add mine in there. All right, keep on going. I'll follow along.
I'm just trying to fix this nose a little because it looked a little weird the first time. And then when I start my lips first, I like to, if I'm doing a smile, I just sort of, you see, it kind of goes up a little bit in the middle. And then
You start with that, just making a line first, is what you do?
Yeah.
Is this too wide for the mouth? Is that okay? It doesn't matter, right? I guess however big you
It'll
want to
be
make your
fine.
mouth. Okay.
And then I like to add this sort of like little divot in the middle there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I start adding like the actual lips. I really only do like that line for the bottom one, just to make them look like a little bit more full.
Okay. Okay. So you just add the top lip, darken that in, and something like that, and then you darken that in. Okay.
Right.
And then down here, right? Something
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
And then next you can, I just gotta fix her face shape a little bit. Because, you gotta, your
Widen it out.
cheeks, they're like, it's not just like a perfect circle.
Yeah. It's just shaping up that face.
Yeah.
That oval does help a lot, though, doesn't it? It help you kind of give you a frame to work on.
Yeah.
Okay. That looks good.
And then I guess we can give her some bangs. So that's why I like to do that hairline. Just helps me to know where that's going to start. You can just...
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Okay. I'm still messing around with the... Okay. So a little bit of bangs hanging down, right?
Yep. And then I also like to add these little pieces that are sort of like framing the face.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Cool. Coming down like this, sort of?
Yeah.
Down past the ear. Okay.
Then I think I might just give her like a little ponytail. So I like to just,
okay.
yeah.
So these are just lines that go back towards the back of the skull.
Yeah.
And as you go around, make it sort of pointing towards the front, right? Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just so it looks like her hair is like actually pulled back.
Yeah. Not that she has a shaved head with just some bangs. Nothing wrong with that, but I see where you're going. Okay.
You can also add like a little...
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
in the back. Okay. So you can actually see the ponytail up here a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm thinking from this ponytail, maybe she's like kind of sporty.
Okay.
Maybe like some athletic clothes.
Is that what you do with your characters? You don't even know yet until you get there,
No.
and then you start kind of figuring out what their personality's like as you're drawing?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's work down to the waist, and then we'll ink it for time.
Yeah.
And then we'll work from the waist up here, and then we'll ink it. I know inking is not something that you... But for the folks at home that can see it, they can see yours pretty good on there. They can see mine. I think pencil will be fine. Okay, never mind. Keep going.
Okay.
I apologize.
So I'm thinking maybe like... actually, no, I think I'll give her a jacket. I was going to say a tank top. But
Jacket.
Jackets are
Yeah,
cooler.
it's fall. She just got out of practice. Heading home. Chilly weather, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like to do my jackets like this. Give them like that little collar.
Okay.
Like those little details there. And I think maybe it's cropped.
Okay.
She's stylish.
Oh, she's stylish
Yeah.
and sporty. Okay.
And
I like
then
it.
I like to make all my sleeves really poofy. It's just like a
Some poofy
little
sleeves in
style.
there. Okay.
And then sort of just,
Put it back like this.
yeah.
Yeah. Poofy. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you got like a couple more folds in there, and it hangs
Yeah.
up. Sort of. So these lines that form the arm that we've done, like we said earlier, that is our mannequin, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just dressing a mannequin.
Yeah.
It's not as there's not as much thought into it as you think there might be, right? It's just like you form a body, you start adding details slowly, building it up layer by layer until you get there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My sleeves are a little more poofier than yours, but it's okay. I got it. There we go.
Okay. And then I'm just gonna maybe give her like a little pocket here.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna start working on this other side.
Okay. The folds of clothing, like getting to that point where you know where a fold will be, you must be very you observe a lot, right? I can't think of the right word. Like you notice detail, right? You have to come up with these little things like, okay, I got a fold here or a pocket, this poofy thing out here. I mean, because I think an artist's brain works that way. I think that we notice detail maybe a little more than the other left side of the brain. What is it? Right, left, something like that. Never mind. Keep going.
And then I'm just gonna, cause my thought process is really, it's just you want to put like mostly the folds will be like where your joints are, so like the shoulder and the elbow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going outside the line like that, right? And then you're forming some sort of little cuff here.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
And then maybe it's got like some little drawstrings. Well, actually no, because she doesn't have a hood, so
That
there's
makes
not
sense.
really a point.
That makes sense. What about like initials for the school lettering or nothing like that? I feel like I want to do that. Can I do that on mine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now I don't know what school to put on there. I'm gonna get in trouble. Never mind. Let's keep going. You put the wrong school on there, you know. You hate
And
those.
then maybe she can just have like some little boxer shorts.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. You also putting like that little design of the cuff here at the bottom of the jacket, like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Oh, and she's got to have another pocket because it'd be kind of weird if she just had one pocket.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
And then we'll just sort of fix this a little
I'll
bit.
tell you what, you're really making this seem a lot easier than what I thought it would be because I know the principle of building it up from the frame up, but that face though, how you built that face, how you built your face and how you showed me how to build it, I'm already feeling a little more comfortable with this style, but not really, but a little more. Because this is a hard style to do. It really is. There's not really a name for this, you know. It's not super cartoony. It's not realism. So illustrative maybe works, but anyway, go ahead.
And then I guess I'm just going to give her like a little t-shirt under here. You know, maybe we don't have to like put a specific school, but we can just give her like a little something, a little scribble.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
cool, like a button. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I've done? I have no shape on my hips at all. It's like she just goes straight to the floor. You have a lot of shape. You know, you've added that in there. I don't know how to get that now, but it's okay. Keep going.
And then if we're thinking that her shirt is tucked in, it's probably going to have like a couple little wrinkles here. No?
No
Maybe
wrinkles?
not this one. Maybe sort of like that.
Where did you do that at?
Like right there.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tucked in a little bit there. Okay. I think I
Okay.
got it.
And then I guess we can go ahead and do the shoes. I'm putting off the hands until last because,
Hands are hard, aren't they?
yeah. Especially with this pose, so I don't really, I'm
You're
just sort
fine.
of trapped myself.
You're fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not really good at coming up with a bunch of different types of shoes, but I'm just sort of, okay. So first I like to start with this little,
Tell you
The
what I'm
part
going to
that's-
do. As you draw this, since I have no feet, I'm going to draw it on this example, okay?
Okay.
So folks at home can see real good what you're doing, okay?
okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So I like to draw this little top part first.
So the tongue of the shoe?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
I guess it's a tongue now still. Okay. That part there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then what I like to do next is kind of just put where it's like a little bit poofy in the back.
So right
it just
here.
sort of goes around.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like where those laces would be, like to make.
Oh, okay. So you know where the center of the shoe is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then it's sort of like Air Forces. I don't know.
Okay, cool.
I like to add that little part. I just think it looks neat. And then this is where the little holes for the shoelaces are.
Okay. Line comes down parallel to that one, and little circles, right? Going down? Okay.
And then I guess we can do the bottom of the shoe now. It might be a little bit.
You're doing the front now. Coming around the side like this, right? And then back in here, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, something like that. Mine turned into boots a little bit, but it's okay.
It's fine. And then this next part's always kind of annoying, but it looks better if you like actually, put those laces in there.
Oh yeah. So all those laces. I
So-
just go back and forth. What do you do?
Well, I like to make them. It's always annoying to me, but I like to make them look a little bit fancy.
Detail, see?
Yeah.
And you even drew the laces at the top where it's tied, right?
Yeah.
Like that? Okay. So that's sort of how you do it. So you notice at home, like, everything is built up from the foundation, right? Now, I think that it's well enough that the folks at home can see it, I think, pretty good. So I don't think we really need to ink this time.
Right.
But if you want to continue on down with yours, I can't really see mine here. But if you want to continue on with yours, instructing on how to finish the legs up, you sure can. And I'll watch and
Okay. Well, I like to I make my knees really defined. I don't really know why. It just looks cooler, and I add like a little bit of blush on them, just to. I don't know. It just looks cool.
Have you ever played around with Copic markers?
I had a couple. I don't know where they went, which is sad because they're like
Like $5 a
$8.
piece or something?
Yeah.
They probably went up since I. Well, the way you talk about shading and where you put shading with your pencil, I think it would lend to yourself very well to try to use those, because I think you could get that blush look, without shading. But, like you said though, they're expensive as all get out.
And then I like to be a little bit fancy and just like show these the socks.
Also, while you're finishing up drawing, I will ink this what I've got, or as far as I can get, okay? So they can see it real well, okay?
And then also for these shorts, I like to put just like a little couple wrinkles like around here where the leg joints are. I don't know. Just put a little wrinkles. And also, depending on the shorts, it might look like, I don't really know how to explain this, but it's just like if you were wearing taut shorts.
Right.
It'd be sort of,
The flow of the body.
I don't know.
Oh, that's right. And we are drawing, you and I both know, look, we're drawing cartoons here, right?
Yeah.
But we do want it to, and we're not trying to draw realism, but you do want it to look as close to real life as you can get, right? Not as, maybe that's the wrong way to put it. You want your characters to look as though they could exist in a world somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those little details matter. And that's what I noticed first thing when you show me your sketchbook, or part of your sketchbook, that, you have attention to detail. Yeah. So now you're moving on to the feet.
Yep. I'm just finishing this other shoe. You're trying to.
Okay. I'm just putting a little more detail on the eye up here, adding more of those lines that you mentioned earlier, and realizing that I really don't know how to do this, but So the bump of the nose, the tip of the nose up here is really important in this style, isn't it? Getting the shape of the nose.
Yeah.
See, I'm not comfortable doing that because with me, with my style of work, I just put like a little dot there sometimes, you know? Putting in this details, this is really, really outside my wheelhouse a little bit. But you're instructing very well. I'm impressed how it's going. So.
And now I have to make myself do the tricky part. We have to do hands.
Okay, let's talk about hands for a second, for sure. So I want to follow you along here.
Okay. So first, I just sort of erase that little part because it's kind of annoying after you draw the fingers to go back and erase it because sometimes then you mess up your fingers.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is I just like to, start drawing that.
Do you start with the thumb always, or do you just start wherever you're comfortable?
Well, normally, when I'm doing this sort of pose, it would be like behind. Like you wouldn't really see it.
Okay.
You know?
I see. Do you just draw each finger just sort of on her hip like this then?
Yeah.
Like
and
little
then,
blocks, right?
Yeah, and then you have to make them look like they go back.
This is the hard part.
Have like little, yeah.
I'm shooting lead at you. I'm sorry. My pencil keeps breaking. There we go.
Another hard thing is when you're doing this, you have to make sure that your fingers aren't like all the same lengths, because obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Detail, see? Attention to detail. I'm playing around with shading while you're doing that a little bit up here too. Just under the neck there.
And then also just like little bumps for knuckles. You know?
Okay.
Just like little lines.
Just little tiny ridges, right?
Yep.
No, I'm just not even gonna worry about that thumb, okay?
Yep.
It's behind her anyway.
Yeah.
So it don't matter. Okay.
And most of the time I don't really do fingernails, but.
I might do it. What's this
Yeah,
hand gonna look like though? Is this one gonna be like the same way or?
Well, you'd see a
folded?
little bit more of. I have to fix this now because I've already started doing it. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna do it sort of like, so it's not really like you see these fingers, but it's mostly just like I don't know how to explain it. I'm not very good at explaining
You're
things.
doing good. I think you're doing very well. So basically the same way, just back further, right? Sort of like that. So back a little bit further. So whenever I show you how to draw something here in a little bit,
Yep.
it's gonna be a lot different. Because my style, it's gonna be hard for you maybe to even draw it in the way that I do, but most of my characters, because once you train your eye to see these little details that you put in and stuff, trying to then go and draw more simplistic, sometimes it can be a little wonky, but I bet you can do it. You're like totally 100% beyond your age with your skill level. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're super talented. You really are. And eventually, you should put your work your work out there for people to see it,
Well, I've been thinking about maybe starting like a YouTube channel or something like that.
I think after this today, you definitely should. Because a lot of people is going to want to see more of your work, I guarantee it. And I didn't ask you this at the beginning of the show, but we can talk about it while we're finishing up here with this. I know you're just a freshman in high school, but do you have any aspirations for after school? Like, what do you want to do?
Not really.
No?
Like if I could find a way to, I'd like to still do art as like a job.
Sure. What though in art would you like to do, if you could?
I don't know.
Because you can. So probably what I suggest to you is, as a freshman right now, is start thinking about that and work every day of your high school career, and it is a career, towards that. So that means that, I know you don't have art classes right now, but you're doing exactly what I would do. You're practicing. You're going out there and finding people who know what to do with the things that you want to do. You're watching them, you're following along with them, and you're doing it. So I think if you just keep this up, what you're doing, you're going to be skilled enough to be able to handle, university level courses for sure when it comes to art. You already could probably, with how well you can do this. And I also should suggest to you is start believing in yourself, because the level that you're producing, you could do whatever you wanted, honestly. You could do animation, you could teach art, you could do illustration work for books. There's a whole gambit of stuff you could get into as an artist. And if I knew, and a lot of people say this, if I knew what I know now at your age, that's exactly what I would be doing. So that turned out really good. So you get your shading coming in now. That's where you really give life to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks amazing. Would you like to draw along with me on something too?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I want to do when we do this though. We'll just flip our boards over, if that's okay. Maybe nothing come through there. Excellent. All right. So what I was thinking, I'm going to build a character too, but I'm going to do it from probably the shoulders up. Okay, and we will try to do a style that's a little bit different than yours, but just like you, I start out with a general shape. Okay, just follow along with me. You're going to draw big though.
Okay.
Okay, a little bit bigger, like this maybe. So I'm putting my oval about right there. Okay.
Might be a little bit.
And just like you,
Do it about like that.
I like to have a line coming down, center of mass, and then I also add a couple more lines in there. I put, one for the eyes and then nose and mouth. And they get smaller as they go down towards the chin, okay? Like that, all right? Then, like you did too, outside, I go ahead and just shape my ear up. This on each side. And I'm gonna make my character a little bit younger than yours, so they're gonna have a little smaller neck. I go ahead and add like a neck in there too. I just do that. It's like habit. Then, just like you, and you taught me something today, it was really helpful. When you're framing up the chest and stuff, that line when you make down here for the ribs, like where the ribs would be, so you make like a giant marshmallow, right? And then everybody at home kind of know what it is. It's we're gonna go up at the bottom like this, okay? It's like she did. I'm gonna do that every time now. Thank you for that. That helped me. And then I'm not gonna worry about anything lower than this. So I do like to add a circle for the joints. So I do a little thing for the elbow here. So the arms will just come down, right? It's gonna be hanging down on this one. It'll be like that, okay? Then the trunk of the body is what I call the trunk of the body. I normally would put a block here, just like stacking blocks, but you taught me something today too. If I know where the waist is going to be shorter, this character is younger, I'll stop about right there. I can just connect it now, which is super helpful. Thank you for that. I'm going to add, just because we can see the elbow a little bit, another little circle for where the elbow is. Okay? The arms are just hanging down. Now, let's jump back up when you're ready to the face. And just like you do, I like to know where the hairline is, sort of. And I know the hair is going to be up above the head. I'm going to start over here and put two lines coming up. This one you can't see as well. Now, the hair is going to be coming down in the front of the face like this. So we're going over this side. So a few lines going across the forehead for bangs, okay? And they're kind of waving out towards the right like that, okay? And then it's going to be a part here, obviously, right? So it's going to come up this way and down, okay? And I want to leave time in here for us to ink this a little bit. So now for the nose, all I'm going to do is just put a shadow below the tip of the nose. You focus real heavily on framing the nose up, but I like to just do a little shadow like that for where the nose is. And then the eyeballs, we'll do a couple circles, one here, and one here. And see, you started out with the shape of the pupil, not the pupil, but the lid itself. So you started out with the drawing, and I started out with the eyeballs. There's no right way or wrong way to do it. It's really more or less about what's up to the artist. But either way, you, at home, those of you following can do it. Either way, I think now after watching you do yours, I might start actually framing my eyes that way. It's really helpful. I put two little dots where the mouth will be, start and stop. Give just a slight smile. Okay, and then inside of here, I'm going to cut out a little bit of room here for the pupil. And now I'm going to start shading a little bit here in a second, but let's give him a shirt or something. Coming down like this from the neck, frame up those shoulders. I'm just going to draw his shirt on top of his body. So we're going to start behind the neck and bring it around to the front. If I can get some ink lead to come out of my pencil here. I'll use this one. So we're going to frame it up from the back like this and then bring it around to the front. So many students I see, when they draw clothing, they'll literally just draw maybe a line that follows the shape of the body. And I noticed that right away with your work is that you know how to draw fabric. And it's not easy to do that because you have to think a little differently when you're framing up a character. You know, you have to think, well, that's his arm. If that's his arm, he or she's wearing a shirt, and that shirt's going to be away from the body a little bit. Same with the hair, right? So a lot of students will go up here and they'll just draw a few lines on top of that oval. That doesn't work because the hairline your hair is setting on your skull, on your skin, right? And then just a couple of lines framing up for the arms that are hanging down. And the shirt will just hang down, so we'll have it coming down this way. All right, cool. Now, let's grab our pens. This is where we're actually going to get into inking, okay? That looks really good. Really good. Now, I really would want to encourage you to start inking more. I know you like the look of that graphite, but let's grab that pen and just, this is what you want to use, that one? Yeah, and we'll just start anywhere you want. I'm going to start here on the ear. Now, you'll notice when you push down on that pen, you can get a variation of line width by how the pressure you put. Most felt pens are like this. So you can do really thick to thin, right? Mm-hmm. When you do inking, this is super important. A lot of cartoonists and animators, if they're not drawing digitally, will use what's called a nib pin to work with. And a nib pin is exactly what you think it is. Think of the feathered pin you always see laying next to a picture of the Constitution. That's kind of the same thing, but it's metal now. They used to use turkey feathers, and they would cut the tip of the feather out so that it would hold ink, almost like a little reservoir of ink. And the nib pins work the same way. There's a lot of different types of nib pins. You could go to any hobby store, art store, look in the art section for calligraphy pens, and get you a calligraphy pen, and it'll work just the same. A really good popular nib tip that cartoonists use is the Hunt 107. It gives you nice variation of line width, and it holds ink pretty good too. So like these eyebrows here, where you go thin out to thick, this is where pressure comes in, with how much you're going to push down. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and frame up the nose a little bit more. Put that shadow underneath the nose there. And you could put, a little line here for where the nose is, the bridge of the nose is coming down. And then for the pupil, this is where I leave out that little section there that I don't want to trace in. Mm-hmm. Just go around that way. And then cut it out like that. Now this is where the thickness of the line matters too. I start thin, I push down in the middle, and I go back to barely pushing down towards the edges of the smile. Okay. And now, what I like to do too is I jump down and I put some shadow underneath the neck here. So there's different ways you can block in ink. Cartoonists will either use a technique that is called cross hatching, where you will go like this, literally parallel lines. So you start out with this line, and you do parallel lines that way. And you can do a whole lot of those, and it will look like it's actually darkened in. And then there's block inking, where they'll take then at the very end of this, like a brush pen like this, and they'll go in and they'll ink in all that section there that's supposed to be shadow, like that, right? So that's why it's good to have a good felt pen and then a brush pen. Have you ever played around with ink before?
Not really.
Yeah, it's I promise you, once you start doing it and you achieve some looks that you can get out of graphite, like using that crosshatch technique, you'll become addicted to it. I love inking. It's my favorite part. After I get done with a page and I get to ink it, it's like the most exciting time for me, because it comes to life then,
Right.
Just like you said earlier, I mean, or maybe I said, but your work seemed to come to life too, whenever you start to put that detail in there with the shadow. So now, just like you did too, I've got a few kind of breaks in this line here, making up the shirt. So it's not a straight line. There's a few jagged shapes here and there, and then around the neck too with the collar. I may put little tiny variation on my line width. And you really don't have to be this kind of technical about it. You know, art should be fun. It shouldn't be something that you have to think through too much. But if you're interested in this stuff, just like, you know, it amazes me as a fly fisherman. So they really, or fisherwomen, or I don't know how they really say that, but fly fishers, no, that's not it. Folks who fly fish will use a ton of different lures, and they really care about those lures. They'll care about the color of a feather they use or a strand of ribbon, and they'll take tweezers and a big old giant magnifying glass, and they'll create that little lure. And that part to them is just as rewarding as actually going out and catching a fish, you know, is making that stuff and then seeing it, you know, put to use. So we did the block shadowing here. Now, one thing you normally never will do is, and you can use this pen if you want to do your block inking there. It's up to you if you don't want to, it's okay. But what you normally, one rule of thumb is you never, if you start out with like really thick block inking like this, you don't go back and forth from cross hatching to block, because it just kind of makes it kind of not feel like it's a whole piece or whatever, you know. It just seems odd. It sticks out. But I do like to go in though and just put a little bit more weight in those areas there with a line or two. You can do the same thing under the shoulder, under the arms. I mean, the armpit here, where this arm's a little bit further behind the body. But you can see a little bit here too. So you kind of get an idea of how it works, right? Then, if you do block inking, you want to make sure you let that dry before you go in and start erasing. Because I've had a terrible experience a few times where I get so excited that I want to see what it looks like without the ink, without the pencil lines, that I'll go in and I'll start erasing, and I'll go through a big giant area where it's all inked in, hadn't dried yet, and then you got these giant smudges straight down this page you've worked 20, 30 hours on. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to get rid of a few lines here so you can see at home kind of how this works. We've talked about this many times though on the show, about drawing first and then inking and then erasing. But the character just seems to pop out once you do that. And then some artists, they'll love to see that process. You know, they love to see those ovals behind those lines, and how did you get to where you got, you know? Do you like that when you're watching these folks on these tutorials and stuff? Do you enjoy seeing the process, you know, of how they get to where they're going, as much as actually succeeding in drawing what you're wanting to draw? Do you like that part?
I mean, it's all right.
It's okay. You're more wanting to get to I want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As you get a little bit older, I think you'll start like, you know, getting enjoyment out of things that you normally would never now, and things that seem sort of arbitrary or boring will become like things you can become obsessed over. But I have a really wonky eraser right now, by the way. It's sticking out maybe, I don't know, an inch from my pencil. That's why it's going back and forth a little too much. There we go. And you can see on the camera though how the weight. That looks really good. That looks excellent. See, now it doesn't have yours doesn't have the lines with the graphite, right? It doesn't have that feel of light like with a graininess to it. But when you look at the block though, how nice it looks great with that big solid black shadow. I love it like that. And your hair looks really good too. You can tell you played a lot with fabric and hair and eyes. You're doing really good work, Riley.
Thank you.
Have you enjoyed today?
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed my time with you a lot. I really have. Is there anything that you'd like to say hi to anyone before we close?
Nah.
No one? Anything you want to tell anybody before we go?
Nah.
Is there anything we haven't talked about that you'd like to talk about? Okay, well, you've done a great job, and you're only 14, so to see where you're going to go is going to be amazing. Please, on behalf of myself, the program, and every viewer, that we see your talent. You have to believe in yourself, because I know it's hard as an artist, but you have the God-given ability and the gift of this. So I hope you use it. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. It's been a great show. I've enjoyed today tremendously. Check out more episodes. We have a ton. I think this is 93rd episode we're recording today. All those on YouTube at Pack TV 99. Just search for that on YouTube. Once you do, look at our playlist. The playlists are located just at the top. Click that. You'll see the art workshop down there. Tons of more really informative programming here on the channel. I encourage everyone to look around and see what you can find. I'm sure you'll find something you enjoy a lot. So on behalf of myself, all the producers here and the programmers here at Pack TV, we'd like to thank you and thank Riley very much for being on the program. And until next time, on behalf of the show, I'm Christopher Epling. Keep drawing.